Good evening, grave robbers, and welcome back to the television graveyard. We are your TV necromancers, Laura Prince and Noah Houlihan, and we have come here tonight to examine the spirits of past television shows, to find out which ones could be resurrected, should be resurrected, and which ones should stay doomed. This is a podcast in which we will analyze the history, the hype, and the aftermath of shows that ran only one season, or only one episode. With me, as always, is TV's Noah Houlihan.
I don't like haunted places.
Happy New Year! Welcome back to 13 is Real!
Yes, welcome back. So, a little bit of business, a little bit of housekeeping.
Business?
Yes, I meant housekeeping before we move on.
That is the business. It's the American way.
We watched Muppet Christmas Carol, can you tell?
Business!
In any case, just a few things I want to go over real quick. One, that is that we didn't have an episode on Christmas, and nothing went out on Christmas announcing this.
Oh.
This was a bit of an experiment on my end to see what would happen if there was just a missing week. So apologies if you were like, hey, where was it? There was a note for those in our Discord. So if you're not part of our Discord, join our Discord and you'll get updates on why suddenly episodes are missing.
I mean, this is not something we are planning to do frequently. This was just it didn't seem prudent to drop an episode on Christmas Day.
Yes.
For us.
We meant to mention it in our previous episode and we didn't. And then we were going to be like, I guess we should record hey, there's no episode. But I think it's more detrimental to release something that people would just be like, oh, this is just them saying it's not an episode, rather than just putting out nothing. So that's what we're kind of testing right now. Basically, this is my apology for anyone who was expecting a Christmas Day episode that didn't get one and just found nothing under the tree on Christmas.
Oh, don't make me sad.
So that's why I'm apologizing.
I think I will be able to announce something in our next episode that's fun, so there'll be something under the tree.
Yes, so get excited for that.
But I won't have it in hand until next week. So.
Yes. It should also be noted that we have only watched episodes 1 through 6 at this point.
Yes.
When we did our first episode, we had only watched episodes 1 through 3. There was a bit of a discussion of me saying that there was no PA system at the cabin that they were staying at, and then in episode 4, it was very clear that there was a PA system. Wanted to quickly do that correction. Also, when we watched episodes 1 through 3, we watched them on YouTube.
Yes.
There was a YouTube rip that had, some sort of, Korean subtitles, I believe, at the bottom that we were trying to watch. And in the interim of watching them, recording and editing, they were taken down from YouTube.
Hate that.
Hate that as well. Luckily, one of our members of our Discord, M, was able to give me a rip of all the episodes. So now we have all the episodes again. So we watched these rips for episodes 4 through 6. Now, there was a bit of a discussion that the first 3 episodes we watched were such poor quality that we were missing stuff. So I went back and I rewatched parts, not all, of episodes 1 through 3.
The parts that were in the dark.
Because,
you would think we would be sacrificing something.
I made the point that I was like, I can't see anything. And with the discussion of us watching poor quality rips, I was like, did I miss something? And going back and watch it, you still can't really see anything. It's clearer. It is clearer that they are just a face in the dark. But you're not seeing any more that would give context to the things that were happening, that it would improve the viewing experience. So I just wanted to let everyone know that I did that and just give that bit of a preamble for apologies and explanations and to make this episode longer.
Oh, you mean that you're going to spend the first several minutes recapping?
Yeah, a really long recap before the episode actually starts.
On a related note, episode 4 starts with an incredibly long recap of episodes 1 through 3.
Yes, it is such a long recap.
The one thing I do want to point out in this recap is they say something about the identity of the killer. And I notice, and write in my notes, that the shot lingers on Rodney.
Yes.
Which I'm like, is this a clue, or is this unlike Whodunit? They're trying to help us solve the mystery?
Also, reality show-wise, it's important that this airs in a post-The Mole world. You didn't really watch The Mole much, did you?
No, I did not.
So in The Mole, it was very common for them to do things like that to tip you off of who the mole was. Like, in the first season of The Mole, first or second season of The Mole was a Navy man, so there was lots of shots of ships throughout.
Okay.
And, like, I think it was season 2 of The Mole, they had these very, like, obscure clues. Like, in the background, there would be, like, a bunch of letters, and they were like, this stood for, like, it says BTIM. That stands for Bill is the Mole. It's like, no one would figure that out.
I mean, they kind of do that with The Masked Singer.
Yes.
Where they do the clues, but things in the background are meant to be clues as well.
Right. What I'm saying is there were episodes of The Mole where the clues were so obscure that, like, it was only there so that they could reveal later what it meant, because no human would figure that out.
Right.
There was other seasons of The Mole, like I remember one of the celebrity seasons of The Mole, where the clue was just the number 7. Because the mole had a tattoo of the number 7. And they were given the number 7 journal, and there was just 7s everywhere. And it was actually really obvious, to the point where you wrote it off of, it's not complicated enough for this to be the clue. Because last year it was so complicated.
Kind of like Push Nevada. How
Kind of.
Nevada would have the clues.
Yes.
And sometimes they were very subtle, and sometimes it was just gigantic.
Yes. So, in a world where that show already exists, looking at this show through that lens, that feels like a very intentional and very logical way to try to solve this mystery as a viewer. To be like, hey, it's lingering on that shot. Cycling back to last episode when I was like, they're spending a lot of time with Cody looking at his fingers. Yeah, I think that might be a clue.
My previous, I just checked my episode 3 notes, and I have Killer, IDK, maybe still Cody, Erica, and Ted feel like red herrings.
Yes. Because all the men on the show think it's Erica.
Mm-hmm. And poor Ted has, like, RBF. And they all think it's Ted because this poor man has, like...
resting murder face.
Yeah.
I do have this quote about Erica. She's a snide little girl of a woman.
She is a conniving, snide little girl of a woman is what she is.
Oh, Cody calls her that. Because this beginning of this 4th episode, they're really hitting on this gender divide.
Yes.
But we're right now at 5 men and 4 women. Mm-hmm. Down from 7 women and 6 men. Ryan is the first man we've lost. And the men in particular are really hitting this gender divide hard. Snide little girl of a woman. It absolutely sounds like Cody wanted to call her something that was probably not smart for him to say on camera.
I just thought it was dumb to call her both a girl and a woman.
Oh, I got the impression that he was catching himself from either using a sexist or racist slur.
Okay.
I think he was going to call her something that would make him look very bad.
I get you.
He still really likes... Cody still cares about one of the women, though, greatly. He cares about Kelly. Do you remember? She's the good Christian girl from the very first episode. She goes up with Lauren into the first elimination.
Right.
And Cody and Kelly vow to keep each other safe. And we finally get a location change. They're taking them away from the campsite that they've been at.
Yes. Over the PA it says it's time to leave the cabin.
They just walk forever.
Well, first they get ready to leave.
Yeah.
Because in my notes, in all caps, I have, just start going. Because there's so much time of like, I can't believe we're leaving this cabin. You know, I didn't like the cabin, but the cabin was our home. I guess we should pack up the cabin. I was like, no, nobody has an attachment to this cabin as a viewer. So leave, please.
They are literally, and I mean this in the most literal sense I can, they're burning daylight. Mm-hmm. Because this show does not know what to do during the day.
Yeah, so they walk until dark because they leave during the day and then they arrive at night.
And they get to a Civil War era fort.
Yes, or as I have it written down, a bondage military fort. Because they find, like, racks and, like, chains everywhere. It's like, oh, okay.
I mean, it's heavily staged.
Of course.
The building was a Civil War era fort. Mm-hmm. But, like, the producers have staged the crap out of it.
Yes. And as soon as they get there, first off, love this line.
I don't like haunted places.
How many haunted places have you been to then have that opinion? Why do you actually believe this is a haunted place? Just frustrating. But we dive quickly into a challenge.
I was thinking about haunted places of, there's always the assumption that ghosts are malevolent.
Yeah.
In haunted places. I'm like, what if they're chill?
Yeah, who knows?
Like, what if they're just kind of like, sup?
Or imaginary. So, they dive right into a challenge.
Yes.
Where they have to go into this fort that they don't know very well.
Yeah.
And it's dark. And find keys to then open these boxes.
And in the box is a reprieve for the execution ceremony.
Yes. This is better in that they're not running through the woods. Like, I can understand visually running down a hallway better than this is more random woods.
We can also get a little bit more, as the viewer, a little bit more of a mental map of where they are.
Yes.
And a better gauge of how they're doing.
Yeah, the one thing that I was thinking about while watching this and rewatching the earlier episodes is, remember that we covered this show. Remember The Chase?
Yes.
The Chase was a show where it was like this. It was supposed to be like a live action video game. You're running around this area and there's hunters trying to get you and you're trying to like hide from them and things like that. It is impossible to understand what is truly happening just by filming the people.
Yeah.
A large chunk of that show is a map.
Yeah.
They show a map and everyone is like represented by like a green dot or a red dot for a bad guy. So you can visually be like, oh, they're in this part and stuff like that. They should have done that for this show.
Yes.
Because I was thinking, remember the challenge where they had the useless map?
Yeah.
Had they done that shot with that useless map, it would have at least meant something.
Yes. And I did think this was a better location. And you also have them running into each other a bit more.
Well, what's great is that there's a lot of talk of like, I'm lost. I don't know where I am. There's times where they find keys and they're like, where were the boxes?
Yeah, because it's actually a 2-part challenge. The keys are nowhere near the boxes.
Yeah, so it is greatly like disorienting. And I turn to Laura and go, this would be a great time for the killer to kill someone. Mm-hmm. Because everyone's split up. I'm guessing in the rules they can't.
Yeah, the guidelines the killer has to adhere to are never made super clear to the audience. Mm-hmm. How long must you be alone with someone? Like,
yeah,
what is the protocol?
Yeah, how do you kill them?
Yeah.
Air quotes. So it never comes up during a challenge like, oh my god, I'm alone. I could be killed right now. So I'm just thinking, you can't, which I found annoying because I think that would be a great element to be like, hey, like, we got all the retrieves. Wait, where's Melissa? Oh no, Melissa died during the challenge.
Yeah,
like, something like that would be good.
I fully agree. I also think the producers needed to sit the cast down between locations and say, hey, during the challenges, talk more. I
think they did. Like, the way that the cabin is daylight and the military place is so dark, I don't think the time spent in between those two shots was a hike.
No.
I think they were in a car being like, okay, here's the problems. You guys are boring as hell during the day.
Oh, I meant during challenges, talking more to the camera and going like, okay, I'm right here. There is a great moment during this challenge where there's like some viscera and guts, and Cody just approaches it, and Cody audibly goes,
yeah.
Because he knows it's in there. And just that moment of, ugh. And it's in there. Mm-hmm. But, so there's like this funny genre-savvy moment, and also this moment of just like, oh.
Yeah, because it's the Resident Evil 7 moment, where you open the pot, and it's just full of gross stuff. That's what he does, and he's like, I bet the key's in there. Ugh. And it is. We also see our favorite character.
We see two versions.
We see the B-roll gator.
But we also see your new favorite, A-roll baby gator.
Yes, there is actually a moment where there's a gator and a contestant in the same shot. And like they get startled and jump over them. It's clearly a smaller gator. Like if this gator were to bite them, it would hurt. It's not going to gator roll and rip a limb off. But
reminded me a little bit of, this is a deep pull for our older viewers, Clarissa's pet Elvis.
Elvis, yeah. I actually thought of Elvis as well.
But it's bigger than Elvis, but it's clearly a very small alligator or crocodile. But I was no less delighted.
Yes. There's also a shot that was like dead on looking at the gator where the gator raises its head and it looks like a puppet. It looks like a Jungle Cruise animatronic. So take that for what it is. That's just my opinion. I don't have any information.
I have second gator sighted. Gator clearly fake.
Yeah, it seems like a fake gator.
So Ted, notable in this challenge is that Ted helps Leah. Mm-hmm. And Leah apologizes to Ted for saying he had a murder face.
Yes. I also have that Adam finds a key under 3 cockroaches.
He finds his in some bugs.
Yeah.
Then I have a note of, some of these gators are totally animatronics.
Yes. So
Cody, Rodney, Nasir, they all find theirs. So Erica and Kelly are the people who are going to the execution ceremony.
Yes. Erica and Kelly were unable to find their retrieve, so they are going to the ceremony. But first they have to go to camp, and now they're camp where they're staying.
Yeah.
They're cots. So they're no longer on the floor, so that's kind of an upgrade. There doesn't appear to be mosquito nets, which is an upgrade. Mm-hmm. But there are just rats.
There are rats, and there's also a bunch of stuff written in clearly fake blood on the walls.
Yes.
The two things that catch my eye are the word fried. Mm-hmm. And I have a note that slay just means something different.
Slay.
Yeah, 15 years later, slay just has a different connotation now. So it made me laugh to see it because it does not have the same meaning that it did in 2020, or in 2009 rather. There's also some shuffling about of cots. The men are in 2 rooms. I believe it is like the men split themselves into 2 rooms, and then the remaining women cram into 1 room.
Right.
So, because nobody wants to sleep alone, and nobody wants to find themselves sharing a room with the killer.
Right.
I, again, do not know whether sleeping is off limits.
Oh, you can't kill them while they're asleep?
Yeah, like, we just don't know.
Yeah, because I actually have the note, can someone please explain how the killer works?
And
that's only going to get more confusing later.
Rodney and Erica start to argue. And this is when I start to really think it's Rodney. Because remember in the previous, the killer sounded a bit southern?
Yes.
And you and I pointed out, Rodney's accent becomes very pronounced during this argument.
Yeah, he gets real southern.
They ain't gonna say what I bashed you about.
Hold on.
What did I bash you about?
Hold on, Rodney.
Was it personal?
I don't know.
How do you know?
For you to get on your high horse and be like, oh, I do this, I'm holier than thou.
Did I ever say I was holier than you?
That's your attitude.
That's your speculation about my attitude.
Half of this cast is from, like, Philly.
Yes.
So, gentle listeners, I know what a Philadelphia accent sounds like, and that was not one. Ted is also accused in this fight of being a killer, but just kind of shrugs, like, all right.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
Accuse me, do it, you won't. And the killer sneaks away as everyone gets ready for bed to learn the surroundings.
Yes, we don't know who it is, but they're like scoping stuff out. Then we get this long sequence where Cody gathers up some of the guys to go ghost hunting.
Yeah.
And my note is, great, now the nights are boring too.
I have Adam and Cody are like, so, they're ghosts here. Rodney, me too. The girls, no.
So they also do this thing where they kind of get separated.
Yes.
So you think that there's about to be a death?
Because Adam is like Adam is just sitting ducking it somewhere in the fort. He is literally just sitting somewhere. Mm-hmm. And he calls out into the darkness, Cody?
Guys?
No, specifically, he calls for Cody.
Yeah.
And it is Cody. And so now we're pretty sure the killer's not Adam or Cody.
Yeah.
Because there would have been a murder.
Because they're alone together.
Yes.
So, yeah, that was us trying to make some semblance of clues.
I have a note that the show clearly now wants us to think it's Ted or Rodney because Erica was never visibly out of the bunk with the other girls.
Right.
Erica was never in a situation where it could have been her. So, daytime. Ted is blacksmithing.
He is so bored, he takes up blacksmithing and makes horseshoes.
He's also, like, wearing a shirt that clearly denotes that he's from Philadelphia.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I like Ted. All the other Philly... I think, no, Lauren was from Philly, and I think Melissa may have been as well. He makes a horseshoe game, and it turned out he's a carpenter.
Yeah.
And my next note is, like Sabrina. I think you said like Jesus, and I said like Sabrina.
Yes.
And we get a talking head where Nasir just doesn't think Ted's the killer.
Yeah, there's a lot of talk of it being Erica, because they believe that... we get this quote. When you kill Erica, which is being said to Kelly, when you kill Erica, and the box shows back up. So this is a new concept that we've yet to learn.
Yeah.
That if the killer dies in the execution ceremony, that the box will return.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's an important detail.
And Kelly promises Cody, I'll tell you you're right. I will say you are right to your face.
Yeah.
If that is the case.
It is suddenly night.
Oh, well, I actually have some notes here.
Okay.
We get on the PA. It is time for the execution ceremony. And I'm excited because it's still daylight.
Oh.
And I was like, daytime ceremony, we will see something.
Daylight horror.
And then the next note, nope, it's nighttime. Apparently sunset was 15 seconds long. God forbid we see anything.
Yeah.
And then my next note here is a big problem with this show. This show needs a Bobby Mayer. Maybe not played for laughs quite the same way, but if this is Saw, we need Billy or Amanda.
We need, like, a Billy the Puppet type thing where it is a stand-in for the mastermind who, like, with a face that can talk to us. That would be great.
Like, we need some sort of host for this show. We need a Giles from Whodunit. Mm-hmm. We need the cop from Murder in Small Town X. I forget what his name is. But...
Cheeto?
Yeah.
Frito. Yeah.
Frito. But we need...
It was a snack food.
We need Officer Frito. Like, we need that guide badly in this show. Who's not... And, like, a proxy for the killer. Like, it doesn't have to be the mastermind himself, but, like, a Billy or an Amanda type would go a long way. I know Bobby Mayer is a little too wink-wink funny for the tone this show is trying to do, but this show needed someone like that.
Right.
More dumb blindfold shots.
Yes, we get the blindfold cam again. They cover... Kelly's entire face is blindfolded.
Yeah.
Like, they blindfold her from forehead to chin. Like, that's dumb. And they are tied to a stake, and they are surrounded by fire, and they have to figure out a 5-letter word that is a combination lock to free themselves from the pyre.
I was super excited because when they light the pyre, it means we can see stuff.
Yes, it's the brightest of the challenges.
Because at this point, that's where I am. I'm like, good, we can see things. How exciting. And so they need to find this 5-letter word. My guesses on here are witch and flame.
Yeah. Those are good guesses. But we then get like flashbacks to all the words that were on the wall. And it was a lot of like blood, death, but then kind of out of place was the word.
Fried.
Fried.
I don't like this puzzle because there's no denotation that those words are important in any way, and there's no puzzle here. You're just hoping you can figure, like...
I mean, I think, honestly, I think this is the best elimination game we've had so far.
I don't know. I don't entirely agree.
Well, like, the other ones have just been like, you're tied up, get untied up.
That's true.
This time it's just like, hey, figure out what this word is. And the word fried is fire adjacent, but not as obvious as like flame and stuff like that. And the idea of you could have that aha moment of the person being like, there were words all over the walls. Maybe it's one of them. What were they? Blood, trust, fried. I got it. Or I think it's just as effective if they didn't ever have that thought to just have the mastermind say, like, you know, this is why it's important you pay attention to your surroundings and show that it said fried on the wall. Like, there's at least substance here.
Yeah.
As opposed to you are tied to a tree.
Untie yourself.
Untie yourself from the tree.
Again, executed poorly because I think if there had been the, like, you know, always pay attention to your surroundings warning ahead of the ceremony, it would have been good foreshadowing.
Yeah,
the way it's presented feels like it comes out of nowhere. And it's like, were you, the watcher, paying attention during that seemingly stupid B-roll?
I agree. When I say that this is the best execution challenge, I'm saying it's a 6 in a world of 2s.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
So, Kelly panics and Erica manages to escape. Unlike the other games, though, I will say, I agree with you here. At least it makes sense that Erica cannot help Kelly.
Yes.
This is timed. There is fire. Erica has to run to survive. There is no, well, maybe if I stay behind and untie Kelly, we can both get out. No. You're racing against fire.
Yeah.
The girls are happy to see Erica, that they're not, like, happy Kelly passed.
I'm so annoyed by this.
Okay.
Erica comes back. We get, like, a sad talking head from Cody. That's like, Cody's like, Kelly was my favorite. She was the best friend I had here. I'm really sad that she's gone. But, you know, I'm going to do my best to carry on. Or whatever. I know that was not word for word what was said.
Close enough.
Then there's more just like, woo, I'm back. Yeah, high fives with the girls, like general stuff. And then there's a talking head from Cody again, who says basically the same thing.
Yeah.
I was like, did no one else want to do talking heads? Is Cody the only sober one that can talk right now? Why are we seeing Cody twice in a different location? Like, I don't know, talk about Kelly again. We have no footage.
I could totally see them just being low on footage in general in this show. So it's time to say, time to guess at the end of episode 4 who we think the killer is.
Yes. I was torn between Rodney, and I also had the idea that it was Melissa, because I thought the words that they were showing us was like an anagram for Melissa, which was not the case. I went back and checked later. But I was leaning towards Rodney.
I, at this point, solidly think it's Rodney. And I think the show is trying to help us find that, too.
Yeah, and they're not going to hide it for much longer, because there's like a next time on 13, Fear is Real. The killer will be revealed. Yeah. They just straight up tell you. So the suspense will be over. I'm curious if they included that for like a ratings grab.
I think so, because I could totally see this show starting to feel dire, because this show is pretty boring at this point. Like, I could see them trying to throw something at the wall. I genuinely do feel switching locations made it interesting. I think that I might have switched locations in the second or third episode instead of waiting until episode 4.
Yes. And I also have to ask you, on a scale of 1 to 13, how real is the fear?
I would say like a 3.
Really?
Just because, like, any stunt with fire can be a little nerve-wracking because if something goes wrong, that sucks.
Okay. I actually have this at a solid 7.
Oh.
I mean, you have the fact that you are near fire. Like, when I go to Universal Studios and they blow up the fireball, you feel the heat. And that's enough to be like, oh, heat. But we also actually had shots of things like alligators and cockroaches and rats in the same shot as the competitors. Like, touchable.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you don't like rats and or alligators and or cockroaches, this is legitimately scary.
That's fair.
So I gave this one a legitimate 7.
All right, I would put it up. I thought we were just talking about the challenge.
No, the episode as a whole.
All right, then I'd probably go up to like a 5 or a 6. Would I want to sleep in any of these places? No.
No.
Episode 5.
Episode 5.
So, the boys are just actively being annoying to the girls.
But before we get into that, I do have to say, the recap lasts 2.5 minutes.
Oh my god.
Because I timed it this time, because I was so annoyed about how long the recap is.
The recap, and then the the title sequence is also about a minute long.
It's also long. And the recap includes every death.
Yeah.
So, like, every episode, we talk about the girl who was buried alive episodes ago.
Yeah.
Just found that frustrating. So continue.
So it opens with the men just being annoying to the women because they're still trying to play up the boys versus girls aspect. But
Yes.
the girls are already down. Like, they're 5-3 at this point. So in any sort of numbers game, the girls have no advantage. So continuing to pick off the girls isn't the most helpful strategy because it's not like the girls have a meaningful numbers advantage right now anyway.
Right.
So this just happens and then we get the daylight. Ted asks Adam to come hang out with him and Nasir.
Oh, I have one note before we get into that.
Yeah?
There's this moment where the guys are doing the ghost hunting thing, and they look down a tunnel and they see like this weird light. And they're like, what is that? Is that like a ghost? And they're kind of like looking at it, and you see this like weird light that's kind of like floating in the distance. And it's like legitimately like, I don't know what that is. And then they cut to a shot from the point of view of the light looking back at the guys going, what is that? Oh, I guess it was a cameraman. I think that question has been answered.
Yeah, I mean, the camera people have to be here too.
What is that, man? It's just... It's Greg? He's back from Primo Hoagies? Okay.
Hi. Sorry. Did you guys need anything from Taco Bell?
Yeah.
Ted asks Adam to come hang out with him and Nasir because there will be 3 of them so that they are not killer fodder. Ted now seriously believes Rodney to be the killer, takes the other 2 boys aside, and convinces them. And then they take Rodney aside, and Ted tries to make a deal with Rodney.
Yeah.
To pick off the girls.
Like, listen, we know you're the killer. Why don't you let us help you set up one of the girls to die?
We want you to do some dirty work.
What do you want me to do?
We want to set up a situation where you're going to whack somebody. You obviously know that you can't tell us that you're the killer. You need to trust people in this game if you're going to make it.
And I yelled, finally, It's a reality show.
I will say, Ted starts to play a social game in this episode.
Yes, it's a very interesting idea.
Episode 5, Ted is the first competitor to realize they are on a reality show, and Ted starts to play a social game.
Yeah. Because, like...
Ted is now my favorite because he is doing literally anything to... I mean, he became my favorite when he was smithing in the last episode.
Yeah, when he became a blacksmith.
To create literally any visual interest during a daytime scene.
But what a great idea to just be like, okay, maybe if I join an alliance, to use a Survivor term, with the killer, I'm now safe from the killer. And, like, there is so much more that could have been done here. What I would try to do at this point is, Rodney, I'm really sure you're the killer. I'm really, really sure. I would like to visibly go off alone with you somewhere.
Yeah.
And when we return, and neither of us are dead, no one will think you're the killer, even though I know. And everyone will think you're safe, and it'll be easier for you to do that. I'm willing to risk you just killing me.
Yeah.
For our team. But, like, also know if you kill me, everyone's going to know it's you.
Yeah.
So, like, it's a real, like, finally gameplay. Finally gameplay.
And, like, the girls are already down so far. Like, and by the way, when we keep saying boys versus girls, no one is making this happen. No one is asking there to be 2 teams. This is not Survivor with 2 tribes. This just kind of became boys versus girls very quickly for some reason.
Yeah.
And Cody, meanwhile, finds something from the mastermind, and it's the dossier about a bunch of murdered children.
Yes.
7 murdered high school students. And they're getting on a bus to Hamilton High School.
Yeah, we're off to Hamilton High School.
And Leah's the other one from Philly.
Yeah.
Because she talks about how she hates homework.
Yeah, I hate homework.
And that, like, hilarious, like, that very Philly ow.
Yeah.
And it just made me laugh so hard. The next note I have is, oh, look at them. They're at school in their little backpacks. And a note that this should have absolutely been done earlier.
Yes, I love that we're moving to a new location. There's a part of me that wishes that it wasn't like a school where a murder took place, if it was just a school. And they were just like, okay, you guys all studied for the test, right?
And that nightmare?
Yeah.
That would have actually been kind of fun.
And then it's like, well, hurry up and take your test. The play's in an hour. You remember your lines, right? Like, oh no! So instead, they find a shrine to the murdered students.
Yeah, they find like a memorial set up.
And I find this part really annoying.
Yeah.
They now have to go find the class rings.
And each class ring is in the favorite classroom of the dead student. Like,
remember that.
Their favorite subject.
Their favorite subject.
Something sparks a bunch.
Yeah.
And predictably, Leah is not amused by that.
Yeah, there's some sparking. And then they're running around all these classrooms and stuff like that. There's one classroom that's just full of mannequins and strobe lights.
And we do see at least one point a mannequin turns their head.
Did we?
Yeah.
All right.
And I was like, oh, that's an interesting thing that they're doing.
But there's this amazing part where they're all split up, and one of them's like, I'm going to check in the principal's office. And someone else is like, I'm going to check in the coach's office. And I yell, whose favorite class is principal?
What's great is when they look in the principal's office, there's like a microwave in the principal's office.
Yeah.
And you open the microwave, there's giant bug. And like a note that's like, there's no ring here.
There's no ring here. It's the principal's office.
No ring here, idiot.
Stupid.
And the mask that moved approaches. So like, the mannequins seem to move. The guys scream. And then there's one that says football is the key to success, which leads to Nasir finding a ring.
Yes. There are little clues like that. There's one that's like someone now sleeps with the fishes.
Yeah.
And then they find like a bunch of dead fish that you can reach in, because my favorite class is fish.
I think it's in like the bio lab.
Oh, I guess that makes sense. No school of fish joke, though.
Nope. Adam finds a ring in the costume shop, in like the home ec room, I think it's meant to be. And then it's Pinata Day. So Ted just awkwardly rips at all the pinatas and paws through the viscera. And so then I have a note of, there are 2 rings left, and all 3 of the rings have been found by men.
Yes.
And Erica finds a ring. So she becomes the first woman to find a ring. Mm-hmm. And then Rodney tries to barricade a door behind him and sees a clue about gum.
Which, I like that as a moment. The idea of, like, no ring was found in this room yet. Maybe there's a ring in here, and closing the door and barricading, like, now I'm the only one in here. I think that's at least gameplay.
Oh, I have a note here. Cody found his early on, my bad. I missed Cody.
Oh yeah, totally didn't see Cody get his ring.
So then we have Melissa, Leah, and Rodney all jockeying for this last ring.
Yeah.
And so Ted, they're all looking for the rings in gum under the desks, because now that's the last room. Mm-hmm. And Ted finds one. Now Ted already has his.
Yeah.
And he just, like, elbows Melissa real hard and points.
And points to it.
Because he's smart enough to not touch it. Because I think there's not clarity of, if Ted touches the ring, is the ring out of play?
Yeah.
Do they all have to go to the ceremony? So Ted just kind of, like, belts Melissa and shows it to her. Mm-hmm. And Melissa finds the ring.
You know, this is the exact type of gameplay we were begging for in our previous episode, where it's like, can they help each other? Can they sabotage each other? That's finally happening.
And we find out that Ted, like, in a talking head, Ted kind of just makes it clear that he wants Rodney gone. So he chose to essentially gift the ring to the closest girl.
Yes.
Melissa was right there, so he gifts the ring to Melissa, essentially. Mosquito nets are back.
Mosquito nets come back. So our losers are Rodney and Lee.
Yes.
Leah, excuse me. So they are going to the execution ceremony.
I do have a note here. Daytime in the school is also spoopy. They could have still done something during the day here.
Oh, we have some stuff during the day. The guys are all hanging out, playing with dolls. Because they're like, let's set up the mannequin so it's like a house.
Well,
they're setting up like these tableaus.
Well, I also have a note. Leah and Erica are totes getting dress coded in those outfits.
Yeah, I also have, why are they in swimsuits? Because the women's just kind of walk by in, like, bikinis.
Yeah, which is why I have the note that they're getting dress coded. So then we see Leah, Ted, Adam, Melissa, and Erica all separately alone.
Yes.
And then the show goes, hey, by the way, Rodney's the killer.
Yeah, my notes say, Rodney is the killer. K. B-roll Gator.
We find out Rodney is the killer in a completely anticlimactic reveal.
Did you see the B-roll Gator, though? They
Yes.
purposely show a gator in a jar.
Yes. And Adam and Cody are just screwing around while Rodney stalks them. And he says something of like, I've been doing this for so long. And I'm like, this is episode 4. Each episode's like 2 days. You've been the killer for a week, bro. Oh, okay, episode 5.
Yeah.
So you've been the killer for like 8 days. And no, you've been the killer for like 6 because the killer box was not introduced till the second episode. So it's been like less than a week, bruv.
Yeah. Chill.
And then you and I actually come to opposite conclusions.
Yeah, so I take this to mean that, because Rodney's in the execution game.
Yes.
I take this to mean that Rodney's winning, and you take it to mean that Rodney's dying.
Yes.
Because my thought was, and I said this in our previous episode, that you probably have to say you're the killer in your last words. Because the whole thing is like, before you go to the execution ceremony, you record your last words so that they can watch it and be sad that you're gone. And I assume since all of them say the same thing of like, it's been great, sorry I didn't make it.
Love you.
Yeah. Sorry I wasn't able to take down that killer with you guys. That this would be a moment to be like, you got me. I was the killer all along. And I immediately think, okay, the fact that they've revealed the killer means that we're not going to get that moment in this show.
I immediately take it as, oh, he's toast.
Yeah, so we are disagreeing completely as we head into the elimination game or the elimination ceremony, where the mastermind says something like, you might have noticed the giant crate in the middle of the room.
Yeah.
Stupids. That everybody else leave. You're already in the place. And Leah cries again.
Yeah,
because that's what Leah does.
I have something with a code being 013.
I have nothing about 013. Maybe it was like a locker or something.
Oh, they do a flashback to Rodney getting the box.
Oh, okay.
And I have a note here of, you know what? This did favor the dudes. Because a woman would have a harder time in 2009 era clothing concealing the killer box on her person.
Yeah, we talked about that last time.
And I just have that moment of, again, when they show this flashback of like, where would a woman put that? Like, any gentle listeners, I know a lot of you have seen at least one episode of any reality show from 2009. See also your, like, Daisy of Love era. The reality show costumes for women do not have anywhere to put a box like that. Even the hoodies they're wearing do not tend to have a pocket that would hold that. So everyone gets sent downstairs, and Rodney and Leah will report to the ceremony when the mastermind is ready, because they're setting up the ceremony.
Yeah.
And then I actually have a note of, man, this would have been fun if they'd done an actual mole. Like if the mastermind was actually connecting with this person, which is the complaint I had about Whodunit as well. That the killer in Whodunit
wasn't actually doing it.
Like, spoilers for episode 3 of the series of Stay Doomed?
Maybe.
I can't remember if it's 2 or 3. You could have successfully proven that Chris never killed anybody just based on where she physically was in the house.
Yeah, exactly.
So, they get sent to sit out into the hallways, and Leah asks Erica, like, how did you do it when everyone was against you? Leah's like, Leah kind of is just like, I'm so afraid, and everyone's still hoping I come back. How did you do this when nobody wanted you to come back?
Yeah.
I'm like, Leah, read the room. So she's crying already, and it's time for the ceremony. And I actually have a note here. I guess Rodney can't use the box right now. Like, he can't kill Leah and go, whoop, she lost.
That would be good.
Because that would have been interesting, and it would have actually protected him as the killer.
Yeah.
Because it just, she lost.
Yeah, she lost. What was the challenge? I don't remember.
You could just say what it was and be like, it was it was that. Sucked. Anyway, what's for dinner?
So,
my next note is, 13 Shades of Grey, because they're, like, chained down.
So they're once again tied up, because that's what this show does. They're chained down, and it's a pit in the pendulum. There's a swinging blade going back and forth right above their stomachs. Mm-hmm. And they have to escape their chains and ropes and not get sliced in half. Part of the whole thing is you kind of need scissors to get your way out, to like cut through straps and stuff like that. And they're in like a bucket of scorpions. Yep.
Because that's the other thing they know how to do.
Yeah.
Is hide stuff in gross stuff.
And then in all caps I have, why is it so dark? Like, you're inside a building now. You can have like dramatic lighting.
Yeah.
Like, I think this would be better if it was too bright.
Yeah.
Like that they were under like these spotlights as this was happening. But no, it's just dark and you can't see. This is a little thing that I caught. Leah says, "Oh my God, I can't do this."
Oh my God, I can't do this. Oh my God.
I'm 90% sure this is a reused line from episode 1. It's just the audio used again.
I could see that.
And this is the weirdest moment of the show. Rodney tries to chew through the straps he's in.
Yeah, he panics.
And knocks his own teeth out.
I just broke my tooth.
Yep.
He goes, I lost a tooth, and he spits and a tooth comes out of his mouth and there's a gap in his face. And I'm like, wait a minute, what happened?
I actually have, Leah is actually legitimately really grossed out as she runs.
As an actor, I understand staying in the moment. But if I'm on a reality show and part of my body falls off, I'm yelling time out.
Oklahoma, Oklahoma,
Yeah.
Oklahoma.
Time out, guys. My face is deteriorating.
It's just funny to go Oklahoma. That's the safe word in Jackass.
Yes.
For those of you who don't watch Jackass at the level I do. So, for the first time, the group does not need to speculate who returns. Because Leah is so loud.
Yes, by the way, Leah escapes. I don't think we've made that clear.
And Melissa repeatedly slaps Leah's butt as they hug.
Mm-hmm.
And she says something to the effect of, if I have to fight tooth and nail. And then I'm like, hee, tooth.
Get it.
And then we see Rodney's will. And it
his
turns
last
out
words.
he's not required to confess.
He lies. He's just like, couldn't find the killer. Sorry, guys. Best of luck to you. And I was like, oh, what a lame thing to do.
Yeah.
This is a spot for a supervillain monologue.
Yeah.
And they just don't do it. The episode then ends with them having to go somewhere else. And the mastermind going, get on the bus. And it sounds like Frisky Dingo. It sounds like the character Killface from the Adult Swim show Frisky Dingo.
Guests, get your bags and get on the bus.
Get on the bus.
He's yelling, get on the bus.
I actually had a completely different frame of reference.
Oh, yeah?
Much dumber. Yours at least is...
Mine's pretty dumb.
Yours is at least thematic with Killface.
Yeah.
I kept thinking of, get on the bus. Go ahead, get on the bus, Charlie Brown. Don't want to be late for school. From the opening song of You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown.
There's a legitimate horror trigger for me.
I do love that show.
So I can't ask you who do you think the killer was because he's dead now.
I actually have a note of, it feels like the show is finally starting.
Yes! 5 episodes in, it's finally starting.
5 out of 8. So, more than halfway through.
More than halfway through. And now I must ask you, on a scale of 1 to 13, how real was the fear?
4 or 5.
Really?
Yeah, high schools are creepy.
Yeah. 1! What did they actually have to contend with here? Because the swinging pendulum thing is the most fake thing.
Oh, for sure.
It's like, oh no, this prop that's not sharp might hit me. No, it's clearly a prop. It's the fakest thing in the show so far. What are the other things they had to contend with in this episode? Dead fish? Mannequins? Pinatas? Chewing gum? What? Did they run out of ideas?
I mean, they're leaning really hard on viscera still. The pinatas were full of viscera again.
This is... While it was more entertaining as a reality show, the idea that this is called The Fear is Real, and it's like, oh my god, you have to look through this ABC gum in order to, this would never fly on Fear Factor.
This would never fly on Fear Factor is such a great line. Yeah, what are you gonna do?
Yell.
That is
Yell
apparent.
into the microphone.
But yeah, I was at least enjoying this one slightly more because this one at least had something going on that was entertaining.
Episode 6. The recap is 3 minutes and 20 seconds.
It do be long.
We are now moving from the school to a slaughterhouse.
Yeah. Which they make sure to tell us repeatedly smells bad.
Yes.
Like, just in case you were curious, it smells terrible.
So, they also do something that I think is interesting in that there are separate bedrooms, again.
Yeah.
So now it's kind of like you have to be split up to an extent.
Yes.
And the mastermind reveals that Rodney was the killer.
Yeah, to everyone. And everyone's just like, oh.
And the reaction to it is, we were close with that hoe.
Cody, I believe, yells, I was friends with that hoe.
Last night, Rodney was killed off in the execution ceremony. Rodney was the killer.
Yes!
Whoa! And we were like good friends with that hoe. That's pretty tight.
Which, one, super confirms that he was going to say something terrible.
Yeah, that's true.
But this was kept in because it can be played for comedy to say it about a white guy.
Yeah.
Good, daylight, a good 10 minutes of sweet FA happening.
Yeah, well, at least they're looking for the box.
Yeah.
Is what's basically going on. They have to take the box in secret, but they don't know where it is. This is at least a thing we can understand visually what's happening because it's not dark.
Now, we do get we are told who the killer is this time and who gets the box.
Yes, we see that Erica swipes the box.
Which is pretty funny.
So, the thing that's interesting about this way of doing it, of like, go find the box, is the first time the box was introduced, it was in a locked cage.
Yeah.
So you could visibly see, hey, the box is gone. This situation where the box is hidden, you could be searching for hours not knowing somebody already took it.
Yeah, which I kind of think is interesting.
And it leads to this very interesting situation where they all go to bed thinking that the box has not been found. Unless you're Erica, who has the box.
Which is interesting, because it also kind of puts the women in a very interesting, strange place.
Mm-hmm.
Of being, in a weird way, somewhat safer.
So at night, Ted decides he's going to go looking for the box after everyone's asleep.
Yeah.
And while he's looking, Erica slips out and is like, Ted, I want to talk to you. I think she says, like, you owe me an apology.
Yeah, because he accused her constantly. Which is funny, because now we, like, we also get, like, Ted taking it super personally that Rodney was the killer.
Yeah.
Which is really funny. So,
But the thing I want to stress here is Ted's looking for the box in the dark alone. Mm-hmm. Erica comes in and is like, Ted, come here. I want to talk to you. And Ted gets freaked out because he's by himself and goes, why don't you stay right there? And runs away.
Yeah, I have Ted Hall's ass. Does she have to tag him with it or something?
Exactly. This is like a glimpse of what the rules are, that maybe she has to touch him in some way. But the idea that you can just sprint away from the killer is like a new concept. Because they never bother to explain how it works.
Yeah, like, we kind of have that, well, does she have to tag him with it? Does she have to, like, declare bankruptcy, like, in the office and go, like, I kill thee?
Like, this is why I go back to how it works in the game Assassin and how it works in LARPing.
Yeah.
Like, it would be so interesting to give the killer a, like, sticker, but have it be like, this is a poison tablet. If you can get this on their skin, they'll die within 5 minutes. And then we can visually see them, like, slip it onto somebody and walking away And then you can just film them dying later, because they're all clearly actors.
For sure.
But instead, they have this, like, Ted runs away. He runs to Nasir, who he does call Show.
Yes.
Let it be known. And is like, Erica just tried to kill me. So now Ted and Nasir know it's Erica.
There is a great piece here that cracks me up. Of Nasir going, I hope I just go crazy last. Like this very just like blasé, like everyone here is gonna go crazy. I hope I go crazy last. I'm like, I respect that, Nasir. I do.
So, with Nasir and Ted knowing that it's Erica, or at least being pretty sure that it's Erica, they could, at this moment, accuse.
Yeah.
And that would send Erica to the elimination ceremony and take the box off the board.
Yeah.
They don't do that. Instead, Nasir and Ted are kind of like, listen, we know you're the killer. We'll set up a kill for you.
Yeah.
Which, again, I think is more interesting for a television show.
And, Ted tries to offer Cody and Adam because he's fully aware that, unlike with Rodney, offering Erica, Leah, and Melissa will be a non-starter.
Yes.
Offering Erica one of the girls is not gonna go over good.
Yes, and Ted understands that, but he doesn't want it to be him, so we're gonna offer up Cody.
And I do have the moment where, at one point, before Ted and Nasir have their conversation, Ted asks Nasir to go for a walk, and Nasir goes, is it dark out yet? And I was like, oh, they didn't give them any enrichment today. They didn't give them anything to do during the day. To the point where they are clearly just bored and killing time during the day. So, there's a point of Erica chilling outside the bathroom, like Rodney, keeping watch while the other two girls shower.
Mm-hmm.
And Cody is just chilling alone in their room.
Yeah.
And Erica comes in and goes, knock, knock, it's the girls.
Yeah.
Acting like she's speaking for all three.
Yeah, that she's with people.
Cody opens the door. And I have a note here. I hope Cody is not a professional actor. Because he's not very good.
His reaction is, oh, dude, no.
Well, when they do the off-screen, like, screaming, he goes like, ah! Like, it's so bad.
Oh, no.
And then Erica goes back to Rodneying outside the toilet.
Yes.
And she uses Melissa and Leah as her alibi.
Yeah.
Because Melissa and Leah are both unaware that she has left.
Yes.
Because Melissa and Leah were safe in the showers.
Mm-hmm. This is all very good. This is all good stuff, right?
And Erica was not going to harm the two of them.
Right.
Because they're her friends, and they stuck by her when she was accused. Adam is very upset because Adam was close to Laura, and then Laura gets killed. And then Cody was, like, his next best friend, and now he's gone.
Yeah.
And then Leah and Adam have, like, a flirty little chat.
Yes, it's interesting because we're in episode 6, and, like, the flirting is always a part of reality show, like, storytelling.
For sure.
It's like people coupling up and such.
For sure.
For it to be, not only does it not happen until episode 6, but the first 5 episodes are so boy versus girl that this feels almost like shoehorned in.
There was some, like, that I could argue were flirting. But
there is the part where I think it's Nasir accuses someone of being the killer while cuddling her legs.
Yeah. I think yeah, and I could definitely interpret some of the interactions between Cody and Kelly as him flirting with her.
Right.
And some of the interactions between Adam and Laura.
Right.
So I think I would disagree with you that there was no flirting up to now. But this is the first time we get something that is, like, clearly framed as a meet cute. Mm-hmm. So that was kind of our, like, oh, they're flirting, like, oh, you know, he says she's sweet, but she's a Philly chick and she's an asshole. And it's clearly meant as a compliment.
Yeah.
She said, like, oh, all my boyfriends have been hockey players. And Adam's like, not me. And she's like, oh, musicians are second. He goes, I'm a musician. And to me, it's very realistic flirting in that they're both terrible.
Terrible at it.
So I found that actually surprisingly realistic.
While they're talking, the mastermind's like, whoever you're in a room with is your teammate now.
Yeah. Because conveniently, everyone is in a room with one other person.
Yes.
So Melissa is with Erica, Ted is with Nasir, and Adam is with Leah. Because we're down to 6 because Cody is dead.
Right.
And, which, this makes me think. Is the killer told when they can kill someone? Because this slaughterhouse challenge, now, I have not seen episode 7. I don't know if we're still in the slaughterhouse in episode 7 at this point. Mm-hmm. But if this was the challenge that takes place in the slaughterhouse and is meant to be in pairs, and we have 7 going into this episode, clearly, this is designed for pairs.
Yeah, but we've had this happen before where someone sits out.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, that was set up in the first 2 episodes.
I mean, this feels late to just let someone sit out.
Yeah, but that would also be good reality show. We're down to 7, and you have to give someone immunity, basically.
Yeah. So, Melissa, Nasir, and Adam get stuck in cages, and...
yeah, they just accidentally lock themselves in cages.
And then Ted, Erica, and Leah have to find them. And there's a great Nasir line. Ted, get out of here, rat! There is the additional challenge of there are PAs all over the place. Mm-hmm. Which does make it hard to follow sound.
Yes.
Which I think is like an intentional way to make it more challenging.
Mm-hmm. It's also really dark, which makes it more challenging for me as a viewer. Because once again, can't see anything.
Yeah, and then they find them, and then they realize they need keys. And Erica and Melissa nail this challenge. To the point where they are sprinting to get back to their room first, fully unaware that they're not racing anyone. No one else is close.
Yeah.
But which kind of adds this like levity of like Erica and Melissa are booking it.
Yeah.
And
but they
Erica
blow
and
the
Melissa,
other 2 teams away.
Like, you know there had to be a point where Erica and Melissa are in the room going, we didn't have to run that fast, did we?
Why did we run?
So, Ted and Sho fumble with it, and Adam, just like in episode 2, is saddled with a partner who wusses out.
Yeah.
Because this time it's Leah can't bring herself to put her hand in the hole.
Yeah, to look for the key.
Where the key clearly is. So Leah finds Adam first, before Nasir finds Ted. Or Ted finds Nasir, rather. Mm-hmm. And Ted and Nasir make it back in time because Ted just shuts up and puts his hand in the hole.
Yeah. So our new couple, Adam and Leah, are going to the execution challenge.
Yeah, which kind of, like, Adam and Laura had sort of seemed like they were a thing, and then they had gone.
So, they have...
Record your last words and get on the bus.
Yeah, get on the bus!
I have this moment of Adam kind of looks like Vecna from Stranger Things.
Okay.
Like, before he's, like, full Vecna-y, when
right.
he's still Victor, I believe his name is. He looks like Jamie Campbell Bower in this light.
Okay.
And Leah is lit in a way that makes her look very innocent. Mm-hmm. And I was like, we know neither of them are the killer. It's just very interesting, those shots and the way they're lit. And they both look really sweaty.
Yes.
So they get off the bus, and they essentially go inside the bathroom from Saw. And I have a note here of, I need a little wit here.
Yeah. They end up in this bathroom, and they're handcuffed to, like, a pipe.
Yeah.
And they have to, like, look for, like, clues in a actual, like, toilet. They do, in fact, find a saw. So they have to, cut through the pipes, which they never do in Saw. And the big thing is I can see everything for this challenge.
Yeah.
This challenge is so quiet.
Yeah.
To the point that my theory is, the version of this we are watching, wherever these videos came from, wherever M got them from, they were originally uploaded to YouTube, copyright struck for music. Because if you get copyright struck for music, you can choose to mute the audio to keep it up online. And it seems like then that audio was muted and someone downloaded them. Because there's no sound effects, they're not talking, it's just like them silently trying to free themselves from a bathroom. So that's my theory.
I mean, that's a good theory. I think they're also just bad at the talking through part of a reality show. And they're so committed to the bit of when someone's dead, they are dead.
Right.
Because they're so committed to the bit of, when someone's dead, they're dead. Usually in any other reality show during a challenge like this, we would cut away to a talking head.
Mm-hmm.
And someone would be talking about their thought process or their feelings during this moment.
Right.
Which is more compelling television than just watching two people struggle with a puzzle.
Yeah.
And the toilet starts to explode to create urgency. There are snakes in the toilet. And Adam is hilarious during this challenge to me. Because he does not seem scared as much as just like, fine.
Mm-hmm.
Like, kind of like Cody with the viscera in the last episode. Just that, alright.
Here we go.
There's a clue that says, if we've screwed up, feel free to vent your frustrations. And he gets a hacksaw, and it's Saw.
Yes.
He's clearly implied to cut off his own foot.
Yeah, they're clearly referencing Saw, which is weird that this is the first time that they're directly kind of referencing a horror movie.
Yeah.
Because they could have been doing this the whole time.
I mean, arguably, last episode was The Pit and the Pendulum.
Yeah,
which is a classic story.
It's a classic Poe.
And has been made into films. But he finds the key, gets up, leaves without a word, and leaves Leah, who he was just flirting with, to ostensibly drown.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's filling up with water. Did we say that?
Oh, yeah.
The whole room is filling up with water.
Which, again, sucks, because now, he has the hacksaw. He could just cut her free, too.
Yeah.
But whatever. And there's a great thing where Ted's like, okay, we need Leah to come back, because then we need to kill Adam tomorrow.
Yes.
Because they think that if Leah comes back, we need Adam to come back so that he can get killed off by the killer.
Yes.
And Adam comes back, and Nasir and Ted greet him like they weren't just being like, sure do need to murder him tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, Melissa and Erica just greet him warmly.
Yeah.
Because they liked Adam.
Yeah, they are all friends at this point.
And then we get on this next episode, it spoils that Erica will kill again in the next episode, which is a choice.
Yeah, I think that is a foolish thing to do, because in my opinion, you should be torn, if you are Ted, to either set up Adam to die,
mm-hmm.
or accuse Erica because you know that to be true.
Yeah.
And then maybe you can be the killer.
Yeah, because we don't know what happens after that. But there are only 2 episodes left after this. And you don't really know what the plan is. We know that we are going into the last 2 episodes with 5 players remaining.
Mm-hmm.
So at least 1 player will die at the end of episode 7. So 3 or 4 would be going into the finale unless Erica kills again.
Yeah.
So the math doesn't quite math because standard is 3 going into the final episode.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, it kind of makes sense. I do have some... Leah did give an interview.
Okay.
She auditioned with her sister. And she got in and her sister didn't. Okay. So this is per her interview with Reality Wanted. which, again, could have been, to borrow a term from professional wrestling, a kayfabe interview. And she said we had no idea where we were going until midnight the night we left. We did not know we were going to New Orleans to the Bayou.
Oh, okay.
When we got there, we were greeted by, quote, a Crocodile Dundee-looking guy who started explaining what to do if a crocodile attacked us.
Oh.
And I thought that was pretty funny.
That's a problem because we've been saying gators the whole time.
I mean, she might also be wrong. They thought the cabin was a set and assumed there would be a house.
Yeah.
They were not happy.
They were wrong.
And they imply they have no direction from production. This is why I think this interview might have some kayfabe.
Yeah.
But I do believe this last part, which is there was a night when one of the production guys wanted one of us to go with him to the bathroom. I can believe that. Because you've got a production person who's kind of a wuss.
Yeah.
Guys,
I have to pee.
I didn't have a lot of information about Rodney. I can't really find anything about him. But Leah had given that interview, and I thought that was really interesting. So, yeah.
Cool. So, we've finished the episode, so I have to ask you the questions. Who do you think the killer is? I think it's Erica.
I think it might be Erica.
I think it's Erica, too. And on a scale of 1 to 13, how real is the fear?
Oh, like a 3.
I have it at like a 3 as well.
To me, I can get some fear of it smell bad.
Yeah, it smells bad.
The psychological damage of having to sleep somewhere where it smells real bad.
Mm-hmm. The elimination game reminded me, there's actually 2 shows on the Sci-Fi Channel. One was called Exit, where, like, they would do stuff like fill the room with water or, like, make the walls close in on you.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, it's a good effect, but you're not in any actual danger. And then there was another one, it was called, like, the McMansion or something. It used to actually air with Chase, a show that we covered. And it was, like, 6 people in this, like, spooky place.
Right.
And they would lock the 6 of you in a room. And the last person to escape was eliminated. But also, the person who left collecting the least amount of money was eliminated.
Huh.
So you were in, like, a scary room that, like, maybe was filling with water or maybe had, like, electrified walls or something. But you needed to get enough money to move on. But if you spent too much time doing that, everyone else would leave. That is a better game show than this.
Yeah, this, like, at this point, Ted is carrying this show.
Oh, yeah. Ted must win. Because he's the only one playing the game.
Like, to me, Ted is heavily carrying the show. Because he is really putting in the work to make anything interesting happen during the day.
Because, like, I was immediately debating, like, as I was watching the elimination game of, like, ooh, God, Adam needs to come back because then they can set up Adam to die. If Leah comes back, there's going to be more problems. You know, should Ted accuse? Is that smarter than setting up another death? Like, how do you go about this? And then when they ended with Erica kills again, I was like, oh. You know what works really great in horror media?
Announcing?
Suspense.
Oh. The opposite of that.
Yeah. Maybe some suspense would help this show out a bit. So that brings episode 6 to a close. We'll be back next week, and we'll talk about episode 7 and 8, as well as our feelings towards the show as a whole. Anything else you wanted to add to this?
Not at the moment. Pretty much everything will be in, like, the closing episode.
Excellent. In that case, if you want to talk to me, or I'm sorry, where do people find us?
You can email us at thestaydoomedshow@gmail.com or on Blue Sky @staydoomed.
And if you want to talk to me about shows that you think actually do horror as a game show correctly, I'm at TV's Noah on Blue Sky.
If you want to talk about the juxtaposition between this and the other murder game shows we've watched, which is something I'm currently working on and writing, I am at Laura Crane on Blue Sky. Until next time, stay doomed.